Hello there. What is going on, everybody? Massive changes and errata and points adjustments for Star Wars Armada. AMG released two new documents, well, updated documents. The Rapid Reinforcements 2 document has been updated, as well as the errata document has been updated. I'm going to put links to these to the Atomic Mass Games site in the video description below so you can check them out. We're going to talk about the changes. There's a lot to dive into, folks, and I'm gonna talk about the big things, and we'll be diving deeper into these in the coming weeks. This is huge. Anakin is changed. A lot of the problems have been changed. I'm going to talk about all the cards that have been changed, and why I think this is generally a good thing. And I know there's going to be some mixed reactions anytime something gets changed. There's going to be pros and cons. Usually the loudest voices rise to the top. You can have a change that out of 1,000 people pleases 998, but then those two people who are not happy will be the loudest ones, and it will seem differently. I'm not saying that's exactly the case here, but I would wager for the most part this will be seen by many as a very positive change, with a couple of folks having maybe some loud dissenting opinions. It's kind of the vibe that I've gotten from the community since this went out. But I'd love to hear from you guys if you disagree. Let me know down in the comments. We're going to talk about Anakin Skywalker first, who's the biggest changed. And while we do this, I want to remind you guys we are doing a big giveaway for a $100 Amazon gift card, which you can put towards an expansion of your choice. All you have to do to enter to win that is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. That's running through Halloween. So basically, let's jump into it. Anakin, biggest change, I think the biggest and most significant change out of the entire thing. He's not just nerfed a little bit. He's completely different. The only similarity is that he's still a Republic commander, and he's still offensively oriented, but a completely different ability, which is very, very interesting to me. He's also seen a points increase. He's up to 31 points now. So he says now, while a friendly ship is attacking a ship, if the defender is at distance 1 to 5 of at least 2 other friendly ships, one other friendly ship at distance 1 to 5 of the defender may spend 1 defense token. If it does, the attacker may reroll up to 3 dice. This is a very convoluted and complicated wording. I initially was just thrilled to see that Anakin was changed, and seeing that he was, that his points went up was a good thing, and then the fact that he was changed was also potentially a very good thing. I love that they're listening. And I think that's what this tells us, is they're listening. They said, hey, Anakin, needs to be nerfed. He's too powerful. He's really changing the game so much. And I think there was probably some different opinions on how he needed to be changed, and this is what we ended up with. I think at initial reactions that this does need some more tuning. We're at 2.1 for rapid reinforcements. I think this needs a little more, maybe a little more play testing. The wording of this ability, I would say, needs to be adjusted. I'm okay with him granting rerolls, similar to Darth Vader. It's something that the Republic can use, and I like that this is not dependent on specific ship types, although it kind of is and kind of isn't. And what I mean by that is you don't have to run a Venator for this to work. You can run this with any Republic ships. The problem is you need a minimum of 3 ships for this to work, because a friendly ship has to be attacking, and of course, which typically means your defender is going to be at a distance 1 to 5, and then you have to have at least 2 other ships that are also distance 1 to 5 of the enemy ship, which kind of is a big limiter. And then if that happens, one of the other ships can spend a defense token, and then you can reroll up to 3 dice. So there's a whole lot of requirements there. Also doesn't do anything against squadrons, which is fine. But he also got a points increase while getting a massive kind of nerf to his usefulness. Now, I think there's some cases where he's going to obviously be compared to Darth Vader, and a lot of folks might say he's worse than Darth Vader, because Darth Vader was simply and straightforward. You're attacking a ship, you can spend a token to reroll any number of dice. Like, Darth Vader is a lot better than Anakin Skywalker in almost every conceivable case. The only use case where I would say Anakin Skywalker is better is the fact that if you wanted your spearhead ship to attack, you can have a support ship like that is also within range, spend a defense token, and you're basically your spearhead, like maybe a Venator, can go, get into range, attack, get into range, and not have to spend its own defense tokens in order to put itself attacking first, perhaps. So there is that slight advantage, but it's overall probably going to be seen by most as a worse version of Darth Vader. I guess the other benefit then is that he's a little cheaper than Darth Vader. So in some cases, he might be seen as a little better, but I do think he needs a rework. I'm not sure he's really worth the 31 points right now, but I like that he opens up Anakin Skywalker offensive Republic builds to make Charger C70s and Peltas potentially work a little bit more. Granted, they're usually only rolling 2 dice on most attacks, so if you concentrate fire, it could potentially work. This does have me thinking, and some others have suggested too, that this would work a little bit better if you had more cheaper ships that rolled at least 3 dice. And I'm thinking Republic Architons would fit the bill really well here. Hopefully, that's what we're going to see in Rapid Reinforcements 3. Hopefully, we're going to see Republic Architons show up. This would be perfect for a Republic Architons fleet. Let's move on. Asajj Ventress saw some changes to her wording. Actually, kind of a big rework, but still kept the same spirit as far as swapping a raid token that's on an enemy ship for a command token. But now the way it works, you don't have to attack first for it to work. It says during the activation of a friendly ship at distance 1 to 5, you may exhaust this card and discard a raid token from an enemy ship at 1 to 5, and if you do, that ship may gain a command token of any type. So she's just a little bit simpler now, a little easier to use. This went the opposite direction of Anakin. It kept the same engine building, like the same use style, but made her ability function a lot more easily. I think she's great. Maybe not great, but I think she's usable now. She's more playable. I could see her working in a TF list that's like, hey, my fleet has already gotten all the benefit it needed. And maybe you've got enough raid tokens and you're gonna probably use them anyway, because this is during the activation, so that can be like after I've done attacked, maybe I'm moving now, and you know what, I just feel like you have a lot more flexibility on when you want to use it. I might need a command token before I attack. I might want to get that concentrate fire token before I attack, so I can do concentrate fire and do other things. Or maybe I need an engineering token before before I even reveal a command dial I can, have enough engineering points to do something, to repair a shield because I'm about to take a damage from that face-up crit that I have or something like that. So she seems like she's more usable now, which is good, but still not great, but it's okay. It's an improvement, even if it's a small one. General Draven, other huge rework. He kept the same spirit, in that he's putting raid tokens. He's trying to deny enemy dials somewhat, but he's doing it in a very different way. Now he's 28 points. He says at the end of each command phase, you may look at all command dials assigned to one enemy ship. Then you may place 2 command tokens on a different type on this card, or each of a different type. Like, in other words, different from each other. After an enemy ship resolves a command, you may discard a matching command token from this card. If you do, that enemy ship gains 1 matching raid token. So, in other words, basically you can put out 2 raid tokens per turn. They can't be of the same type. But you do it after they resolve a command, which is very interesting. Now, this is the most complex and interesting card. Anakin was huge in that he was changed, but this one is a very interesting card because there's so many things. Also, I don't think this one is worded as good as it could be either. I think this one's going to need a 2.2 treatment, because I think this one gets a little more complicated as you play him more and more and more. But basically, at face value, this still has the potential to mess with like Sloan lists and things like that. Like if you've got a Quasar that's pushing stuff, I can look at your Quasar. Oh yeah, you got squadron. Okay, so I'm going to put a squadron token on him, and then I'm going to put a nav token on him. Okay, cool. So then You know, hey, after a ship resolves a command, oh, your Quasar went. Okay, first round. Oh, maybe it just banked a token. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a a squadron raid token. And so maybe I'm going to do that every turn. Just give that Quasar raid token every turn. Eventually, it's going to might start mattering. There's a lot of ways for different factions to manufacture extra tokens to cancel out the raid tokens, so it's workable. It's not completely shutting down an enemy Quasar. There's a lot of ways for them to get around that. But then you also have another raid token that you can also mess with things. So you can divvy it up a little bit, which is kind of cool. I think Draven is playable now. And while it might seem like he runs the risk of being a negative play experience for other folks, remember this is after you execute a command, so you're still getting to do your command first. And granted, if you have the same stuff planned or whatever, anything that's going to share a token will kind of purge that raid token for the next turn. So you're going to have a little bit of control over this, and so that's cool. But here's the weird thing about the way it's worded. The only time you have restrictions on placing tokens on this card is at the end of the command phase. You're looking at those dials, then you're putting 2 different tokens on this card. It doesn't say there's a cap to a number of tokens on this card. So like the first, because it says after an enemy ship revolves a command, you may discard a matching command token from this card. If you do, then they do that. So I can just stockpile tokens on this card. So one of the weird things about the way this is worded is I could be like, okay, I'll do round 1, I'll do squadron and nav. Round 2, I'll do squadron and nav, or maybe squadron and engineering, right? Squadron engineering every turn. By round 3, I've got 3 squadron tokens and 3 engineering tokens. And now, like, maybe you've got like 3 carriers or whatever. I can just be like, if I save them at the beginning, I can just start going boom, 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 raid, 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 raid if you've got a big fleet. So that if you stall a little bit, but with and not use his ability right away, he allows you to really ramp up for it on like rounds 3 and 4, by having like a whole lot of tokens and duplicates of the same type. I don't know if that was intended, but that's the way it's worded. You could have multiples. The only thing you can't do with multiples is put 2 down at the exact same time. But on the subsequent turns, there's nothing preventing you from adding more. One way to change that, if that seems too powerful, would be to errata him to say, at the end of the command phase, purge all command tokens on this card, then do everything else. So he, like letting him start from 0. Because if he's meant to only give out 2 per turn, you'd have to kind of reset him each turn. Otherwise, he can just stockpile and then give out a whole bunch. Either way, I don't know if that's going to be too broken or not. He just seems like he's going to be so interesting, and it's going to require, I think, a lot of play with Draven to really see how he impacts the game and how he impacts other players. It seems super interesting to me. I'm going to dig deeper into this guy in the future. Matchstick got completely changed, and I definitely think Matchstick was a problem. The way he was worded, and everything, he was just incredibly strong. Somebody who was able to give basically the entire, an entire Y-Wing bomber ball and Arc 170 bomber ball, everybody rogue, just turn an entire Republic force into all rogues, was very, very strong. Hera can only do that for 2, and she was way strong, more strong. So Matchstick is, he's basically now just relay. He's totally been changed to just be when a friendly ship revolves a squadron command. If you're in range to be activated, up to 3 of the squadrons with bomber it activates can be at distance 1 to 3 of you. What this does for him is I think it still allows him to kind of work with those hyperspace rings and to drop some Arc 170s kind of in the middle of the board and extend range a little bit. But really, I think if you take in Matchstick, it's because you want a Y-Wing that's got double brace for only 16 points. I think that's why you take him. I don't think this ability is very good. I'm sorry to people who loved Matchstick, but Matchstick did need some kind of change. I thought he just needed a points increase. But yeah, he's super, super weak now. I think he's just basically a Y-Wing with brace now. Wat Tambor got a points decrease from 20 to 18. And that's all I have to say about that. I haven't run Wat Tambor yet. Like, he seems fine. He seems cool. I just haven't run him. Also, Wat Tambor, as an officer, went up to 9 points. He's a good officer, and I could see that. I wasn't expecting that, but okay, that works. Tranquility got a points increase up to 7. Honestly, Tranquility's a bomb title. It's incredibly good. It's one of the best titles in the game. And yeah, I'm still going to take it a lot. I think it's a good card. It could have gone up to 9, and I'd probably still take it. You know, it's a good card. I'm not complaining much about this. This was one I didn't expect to see changed, but when I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. This is kind of cool. I like seeing points changes that make sense. Although at the same time, while they get stuff like this, I'm like, well, where's the victory points change, guys? I mean, like, there's other things, you know, and maybe those were more complicated because you've got titles like Harrow and things like that. I don't know. That'll be a whole nother video. Like, where's the other cards that need points changes? That'll be another video. We'll talk about that later. Ramadi. Oh, this one hurts me. This one hurts me, but I understand completely. I think he's worth more than 28. I think Ramadi's should be 31 and Anakin should be 28 or whatever. Ramadi is an incredible commander, and I would probably still run him even at 40 points because I like his ability that much. I think he's incredible. While a friendly ship's attacking another ship, if the attack is obstructed by a ship or obstacle, the attacker does not remove a die. And adds a red die to the attack pool. They may, but of course you will. He's incredible, and he was a 20-point commander. He should have never been a 20-point commander. So 28 points is a good kind of starting jump for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes up more in the future if they do more points updates. But 28 is, you know, like, I'm not complaining. Even though it impacts some of my lists, he's still an incredible commander and still one of my favorite Imperial commanders. Kirsta Agate, kind of the same treatment, but she only went up to 25. She's a single ship only commander, so she's not as like fleet wide, woohoo, crazy good. But for 20 points, she was a good, you know, she's always been a good commander. And she's also really important in a lot of like Starhawk 134 archetype lists. And so it might impact them a little bit. I don't know if it's going to change too much, but I think she was better than 20 points. Hopefully this is the first step in more commanders getting their points adjusted to reflect their power value. I don't run Agate enough to know if 25 is the sweet spot for her or not, but I can see her. She's very popular, and I can see, you know, increasing the points of 20-point commanders that are very popular. And of course, we got to talk about the Onagers getting increased. The Onager testbed went up 20, a whopping 20 points. This is good. It's a good change. Still a good ship. Still going to be popular. You can still run double Onager, Sloan, Gazanti, decent number of TIE fighters, and, you know, good effects on the Onagers with the title and first round shot. You can still do all of that. And if you're going to do that now, you have a lot less points left over for extra TIE fighters. And so I was looking at it today, and I'm like, I think, you know, you go from like 15 squadrons down to like 8, you know, or something like that, or something crazy. So it does change certain, you know, Sloan archetype, Sloanager type lists a little bit, which is fine with me. I always thought the Onager was way undercosted. It was a fun ship, but a little too powerful. Now, they did not change any of the rules associated with salvo or the ability to still shoot first on the first turn and potentially one-shot a ship before your opponent can even react. That still exists, but it's going to cost you at least another 20 points at this point. So that's something to think about. The Onager class Star Destroyer also went up to 120. Now, this is only a 10-point increase for the Onager class Star Destroyer. It's only a 10-point increase, not a 20-point like the other one. Some folks weren't happy with this one going up also, but of course this one has to be more expensive than the other one, doesn't it? I mean, it is a Star Destroyer after all. It's 120 points, and it's the same price as an ISD2. I still like this ship. I will still run this ship. This is my preferred Onager because for me, this feels, you know, with the medium, with the blue dice, blue and red crit, you know, that medium super weapon. This is just how I like to run the Onager. I don't want to take one of your ships off the board before the game even starts. To me, that feels just a little too try hard, win at all costs, even if your opponent then quits the game and never plays again, right? I don't like to play it that way. I think this one is a lot more, you know, a lot more appropriately costed now, and it might be more acceptable to bring this up even in casual games. And so I'm okay with this point cost. I'm anxious to see where Onagers land in the meta after these changes. It's going to be a very interesting time. Folks, I'm going to put the links to all of these documents down in the description below. You can check them out for yourself. We're going to be talking a lot more about this in the near future. So if you want to talk Star Wars Armada or other Star Wars and tabletop game stuff, make sure you click that subscribe button. Also, you should check out some of the other links we have in the description below, like our Discord and all that other stuff. I want to thank my patrons as well. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this channel possible. I will talk to you guys later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper and be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes, and have a great day.